Hello, everyone, and welcome to just our opinion of the new book/script thingy, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
It's an accurate description.
I thought so, too. I'm Matt Corchado, one of your co-hosts. He is.
I'm Caleb Sherman.
He's also a co-host, but yeah.
No, I'm not.
No, he's not. He's just here talking.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways. So, this new script for this new Harry Potter play, which is set 30 years after?
No.
No, just kidding. I'm sorry, not 30 years. How many?
19.
19 years after the last Harry Potter book.
Like the first scene is like an extension of the epilogue of Deathly Hallows.
Yeah.
Which
So
took place like 17 or something years after.
yeah. So we both read it,
Yes.
and it was interesting.
Well, first I think we should point out that we experienced this story in a form that it's not supposed to be experienced.
Right.
Like it's a play.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to watch the play. So we didn't get all the things that maybe people who had seen the play have gotten. Like I think the consensus has been like the people that have just read it tend to be more negative towards it than the people who have seen the play. So like if we had watched the play, our opinions might be different in one way or another.
I guess.
But we got the bare bones of the story.
So let's just go over the positives of the book.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's just from this point forward, let's just call it a book. Like understand.
Okay, it is a book.
That well, it's not a book.
Well, no, but we're calling it a book.
We're calling it a book for simplicity's sake. So just know whenever we say book, we know it's not a book. We know it's a script. We just for simplicity's sake, we're calling it a book.
Okay.
So positives.
Let's just go into some of the positives here.
Indeed.
Break it down a little bit.
We can break it down.
So, some of the first positives we have up here is we loved the new characters, which I'd have to agree with. We both loved the new characters.
Yeah.
Well,
the
two main new characters.
The two main new characters.
Actually, time out before we even keep going.
Oh,
Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah, I think we would have done like a half non-spoilers, half spoilers review, but for this story in particular, it is darn near impossible to talk about this without spoilers.
So from here on, it's all spoilers throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, if you don't want to know anything, like in case you're waiting for the movie, I guess, which might be
10 years from now.
Yeah, 10 years from now. But just know that we're going to full hardcore spoilers.
Okay.
Spoil it all.
We warned you. Watch at your own risk.
Indeed.
Okay, so we both loved the two main characters, I suppose.
Right. So
Scorpius and Albus.
Like Scorpius being Draco Malfoy's son, and Albus being Harry's second child.
Yeah. And let's just dive into Scorpius first.
Okay, yeah.
He's not the main character, because Albus is.
Yeah.
I take it as Albus is the main character, but Scorpius is the co-main character, I suppose.
Yeah, there's a good chunk of the story that is just him.
Yeah.
So, I mean
I don't really know how to. Okay.
They're co-leads.
Let's just start by saying if you liked him or didn't like him. Obviously, that's a positive, so we both liked him. So why'd you like him?
Well, I thought. Well, are we talking about Scorpius?
Yeah, Scorpius.
Scorpius. I thought he was probably. I liked him more than Albus, I think.
Me too.
Just because he, coming from the family that he's coming from, like doesn't have the best reputation in the wizarding world. Like there's all these rumors swirling around him that maybe he is actually the child of Voldemort, and people constantly like make fun of him for it. And he isn't Slytherin, but he sort of breaks the mold of what your stereotypical Slytherin is.
He acts he's basically the story's Ron. That's what I took him as.
mm, I don't know. I feel he's a mix of
Ron and
Hermione. Yeah, I think because he's like a pretty nerdy character.
Yeah, he's super smart.
Yeah, and he's the more careful one of the
Yeah.
two, but he is like slightly more goofy and stuff also.
Yeah, I thought he was the most fun character in the whole
Yeah.
story.
I mean, there were a couple lines of dialogue where I was just like, why?
Hold on.
Who would he?
We can talk about dialogue when we get to the negatives because
Yeah.
there's quite a few dialogue that was just woo.
All right. Yeah. Sure.
But let's move on to Albus now.
okay. Yeah.
I thought Albus was a good character. He kind of got whiny at moments, but
Yeah.
I thought he was a good lead.
Well, what I liked about it is that Albus being in Slytherin too, so
Yeah.
like in the Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you're from.
Whatever.
The Sorting Hat tells Harry that he would be a really great Slytherin, which could have been due to the part that he had some
Right.
Voldemort in him, but so there's been precedent for a Potter to be like potentially good Slytherin, but it's he was in Gryffindor and then Albus gets put in Slytherin and everybody sort of makes fun of him for that. Oh, the disappointing Potter and stuff. I liked that his relationship with his dad wasn't that great, and that it was hard for him to be the son of this super famous person. He wanted to branch out and be his person in his own right and fix some of the things
that that he felt his dad didn't do right.
Right. Yeah.
I really enjoyed Harry and Albus's relationship through this entire book, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it all. My favorite thing about this whole entire book was Harry, Hermione, and Ron again. I just love and Jenny.
Okay.
I love all of them. I just loved every scene that they were in all together. I just felt, like a kid again.
Some more than others.
Yeah. I should take that back. I didn't really like Ron, but
and Harry was like, pardon my language, but I felt like they were trying to make him seem like too big of a dick sometimes. Like they were like really leaning into it. Like he's not.
He's like one of the nicest dudes ever.
Yeah. I liked that he wasn't, he's not really the same as he was.
Right.
But, and Hermione was okay, I guess. Pretty good. Whatever. And then, I especially liked Ginny, though, that she wasn't sort of sidelined.
She was a huge character in this.
Yeah, she was had a pretty prominent role in the story.
I loved basically all of everything she did. I loved Harry and Ginny's relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
And how she helped him get through a bunch of stuff, and it was really cool seeing that because we didn't see it in the movies. But
yeah.
Also, let's go on to understanding Draco. That was cool.
Yeah, we got a little bit more insight into his character. Like again, there was a couple corny parts with him specifically, but I liked that he's struggling to fit back into the normalcy of everything, and I liked the fact that he was hiding, so to speak, for a while. Like he knew people didn't like him and stuff, so he just tried to stay away from it all, have his family, try to be normal-ish. And
he has a really tragic role in this.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
We warned you, spoilers. His wife dies, and
right.
That's where the rumors come from that he. How did that go?
Well, the rumors were that they went back in time and Draco's wife had a child with Voldemort. That was the rumor.
Yeah.
But, I don't really know how that came about. They didn't really explain that. But
once again, we're getting into negatives, but
well, whatever.
let's see. The tone was really good throughout this entire book.
It definitely felt like a Harry Potter
Right.
story for
Yeah.
sure.
I read this book in 4 hours because I felt like I was watching or reading Harry Potter.
Yeah, definitely. They got the feel of a Harry Potter story right for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of Voldemort, he has a daughter. Her name is Delphi or Delphi.
We're getting into it, are we?
Oh, we're getting into it. So we meet this character Delphi or Delphi.
Yeah, it's not immediately a reveal.
No, it's like halfway through maybe or over halfway.
I would say 3/4.
Okay. And she's really corny, I could say. At the beginning, she's corny.
Yeah.
She's kind of goofy and fun and, I didn't really expect her to be the daughter of Voldemort. I didn't really trust her.
I didn't either.
I didn't know Voldemort was going to be in this book, but
yeah,
another spoiler. He's in the book.
Sort of.
Kind of. Yeah. Anyways, she was a really cool character once she came out as Voldemort's daughter because she was so powerful.
Yeah, that part was cool. Like
she was like so dominant, more powerful than Voldemort himself, basically. Yeah. I mean, it took Harry and a bunch of other wizards to take. No, it was just Harry and Albus, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just Harry and Albus.
Sorry, I keep forgetting. But, yeah, it took them all to take this girl down, and she's just a daughter of Voldemort.
Yeah, I liked her, wanting to team up with Voldemort. That was interesting. Like, her motivations I thought were interesting. That doesn't mean, like, her character was necessary, but...
You know what? They just... I'm going to be honest. I really enjoyed this book, but it definitely has some problems. So, I mean, do we have any more positives?
Some of the little set pieces I thought were cool. Like, for instance, there's this scene where Albus, Scorpius, and Delphi are trying to retrieve the Time Turner from Hermione's office, and they have to, like, fight with her bookcase and stuff. That seemed
would be
like
really cool to see cinematically.
That looked really cool. Or sounded really cool.
Yeah.
The scene towards the beginning, there's scene on the Hogwarts Express where it turns out like the trolley witch, the ones that gives out the candy, is like some kind of demon kind of thing. Like she's not like a real person.
BA'd.
And she like has spikes that come out of her hand. Like she does not let her thing is like her job is to not let kids off the train, which has its pluses and minuses. But the scene itself of like her trying to stop Albus and Scorpius from jumping off the train, I thought was pretty cool.
It was cool, but then again, how in the heck did these two child wizards get past this trolley, which has been doing it for years?
They just kind of jumped off, didn't they?
Yeah. Okay.
Then one other thing I liked was when they go back in time multiple times in this book.
Yes, they do.
And so one time they're trying to, or I guess it's the final time. Like, so they're sort of stuck in the past, and they need help from present day Harry and company.
And Draco. It's mostly Harry and Draco.
So they try to send a message through time, which I thought the idea of that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like sending something that they would receive at a specific moment and realize, oh crap, we need to go back and help them. I thought that was pretty neat.
Speaking of Harry and Draco, though, I really liked how they had to team up and work together to find their sons.
Yeah.
I enjoyed their banter and relationship, I suppose.
Yeah, except for the one random part where they like were fighting for some in Harry's kitchen.
Oh, yeah, that was...
Oh,
yeah.
No.
If they ever make this into a movie, they're going to have to take a lot of stuff out and change a lot of stuff.
They're going to have to take, like, the aspects of the story and, like, almost change it completely.
On that note, let's move into the negatives. Let's go with the obvious negative that everyone's talking about, the Time Turner controversy.
Yeah. So...
I mean,
all right, it's going to take some explaining.
Yeah, give a little background.
If you don't really remember what the time turner is. In Prisoner of Azkaban, McGonagall gives Hermione a time turner so she can, like, it's like a necklace thing, and she sort of twists it, and she can go back in time so that she can go to have an extreme amount of classes.
Yeah.
So essentially she'd be in multiple classes at the same time. That's what it would appear to be. And then they use it for a bunch of other uses in the story as well. So like Dumbledore sort of suggests to them that they should go back and save Sirius from getting getting the Dementor's kiss.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So they go back, and the first thing they want to do is to save the Griffin Buckbeak from getting like executed, because that Buckbeak like bit Draco in the beginning, and then Draco's dad wanted it dead or whatever. So,
and he got his wish. I mean, they were going to execute him.
Right, and so the Buckbeak was like chained outside Hagrid's hut, and Harry, Ron, and Hermione, like before they go back in time, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are in that hut, and then they're trying to ask Hagrid like what can they do to save Buckbeak or something like that, and then Harry gets hit in the head with a rock.
Yep.
And he's like, what the heck? And that triggers, they notice that Dumbledore and the Minister of Magic and the Executioner guy are on their way to the hut, and Harry, Ron, and Hermione got to get the crap out of there. So, but it's revealed later that when they go back in time to try and save Buckbeak, that like Hermione and Harry are looking on as the three people are coming to the hut, and they're like, why aren't we leaving? Why aren't we leaving? So Hermione picks up the rock and throws it at Harry's head, which triggers Harry to realize that the people are coming.
And it's a loop.
Well, yeah. So in essence, the type of time travel is a closed loop time travel. So they can't really change the future because they were always going to go back in time and do that. Like, them going back in time didn't change the future. It just ensured the future events. And then, later, like, Harry thinks that his dad saved him from the Dementors at first, but then he realizes it's himself. And, and Buckbeak never really died the first time.
No.
It was what they thought was the Executioner chopping off Buckbeak's head, and he was just like hitting a pumpkin.
Yeah.
So the point is, it's a closed loop timeline. When you use the time turner, you can't change anything. You can only make sure that the events of the future happen. In this story, they completely change that.
Yeah.
So in this story, they use the time turners not to go back like a day. They use it, number one, to go back years, all the way back from where they are to the Goblet of Fire during the Triwizard Tournament, and they're trying to save Cedric Diggory from being murdered or whatever. And the first time, I forget what happened the first time. They're not successful the first time, right?
No, they're not successful the first time.
So yeah, they try to save him, but they're not successful. But when they come back, like, a whole bunch of crap's changed. Like, Ron and Hermione aren't married anymore, and Hermione isn't the Minister of Magic anymore. She's a teacher.
And Ron is married to the
one of the twins.
Yeah, the twin
from Goblet of Fire
and
stuff that they go to the ball with. So this version of time travel, they do change stuff. And then, so the problem with that is, when you have a closed loop timeline, that minimalizes paradoxes, like stuff that doesn't make sense with time travel. When you have this type of time travel, so later in the story, they go back and they do prevent Cedric from dying, but what happens after that is, I guess Cedric like from embarrassment of losing.
Yeah, because when he jumps into the little river thing, the lake,
yeah,
they turn him into a big balloon bubble thing, and he blows up, and it embarrasses the crap out of him, apparently,
Right.
and he goes into some dark depression and wants to kill everyone.
Yeah, he turns into a Death Eater.
Yeah.
Like Cedric. Like the nicest guy in all the Harry Potter stories turns into a Death Eater because he was
From
embarrassment. So
Sure.
he turns into a Death Eater, I guess, and then in the Battle of Hogwarts, he kills Neville, and so Neville is no longer able to kill Nagini, the snake, which is like the final Horcrux. So then Harry actually dies at that point, and he's never able to have Albus, which
It's a problem.
so when they come back to the present, Voldemort's still alive, and he's like the leader of the wizarding world.
And they have a Voldemort Day.
Yeah, they have that's among the corny things.
My God, that was awful.
But so Scorpius now he comes back to the present, and like Albus is gone. So Albus at that point is never born, which makes zero sense because it was Albus's idea to go back in time in the first place.
So how would Scorpius already be back in time if it was Albus's idea?
See, that's my point, is like now you have paradoxes. Not only did they completely change what the Time Turners do, but they also created a bunch of these paradoxes that are just frankly pretty upsetting.
Very, very upsetting. I mean, most of the paradoxes were pretty corny.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what was it? For valor or something?
Well, that's not a paradox.
No, I mean, what'd they say in Voldemort Day, though?
Yeah, so for valor and Voldemort or something like that.
It was really...
For Voldemort with valor?
Yeah, it was for Voldemort with valor, and it was probably the dumbest line I've ever heard.
That's like the saying that everybody says to each other, like, Hail Hydra.
Basically. It was so stupid. It was irritating.
And, like, the first time they go back in time and they're not successful, like, somehow Delphi is able to remember the previous timeline, even though she didn't go back in time with them.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, yeah, you guys didn't change anything. But no one else remembers the previous timeline except for Scorpius and Albus, who did go back. But somehow, despite the fact that, I mean, stuff.
So,
oh, man.
Yeah.
So.
That's the big problem everyone's mostly having with this book.
Yeah.
For the most part.
For the most part.
There's quite a bit more stuff that you could say was negative about this book. Let's start with the sideline characters.
Okay, yeah. So, like, Harry has 3 children, right?
No, he doesn't. Not in this book.
He has, James Jr. and being, like, his mom and dad were James and Lily. So he has a son, James, and a daughter, Lily. And James being the oldest, Lily being the youngest, Albus is the middle child. So the other 2 children are in the beginning, and then they're just forgotten.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the story.
The only time you hear about Lily is when Scorpius talks about her because he has a crush on her.
No. That's Ron and Hermione's kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea then.
Yeah.
I don't know where they go.
And that's another thing, too. Like, Ron and Hermione also have another child, but you only hear about one.
Yeah.
The whole story. That was also frustrating. Sideline. Some characters were sort of introduced and then just sort of dropped by the wayside.
For the entire book.
Yeah. Some of the characterizations of the same characters we've known for so long were like not how we remembered them. Like mainly Ron. What?
Well, okay. I didn't read the books. This is the only Harry Potter thing I've ever read. So I know the movies very well. And Ron was not like this in the movies. Was he like that in the books? I know you've read some of the books.
No, not really, no.
Okay, so now that just makes me more mad because this was by far the most infuriating thing. Honestly, I didn't really care much about the time turner. It didn't bother me that much. This bothered me when they started messing with the characters and changing them. Ron was not Ron. He was an idiot. He was an idiot that liked food.
He was an idiot, totally useless to the story.
Yeah.
And all he was used for was just like jokes, basically.
Yeah. And he ate food. A lot of food.
And his character thought things were funny that, like, really kind of weren't. Like, he gives Albus a love potion for a joke? Like, what?
It's kind of messed up because obviously Albus isn't the best with people in general.
And, like, of anyone, Ron should probably know the dangers of a love potion.
Almost freaking died.
Well,
not because of the love potion, but just because of that night in general.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was pointless, dude. He made me so mad the entire book. I was like, I'm mad.
The other pretty big, notable, like, characterization issue, which is also a big spoiler, when they go back in time and change things a whole crap ton, when Voldemort is now the leader of the Wizarding World and stuff. Snape doesn't die, which was cool to see him.
Oh, yeah.
It was
that
cool.
wasn't Snape.
It was cool that he was brought back, but no, that wasn't Snape.
That wasn't Snape at all.
He was joking. He
was nice.
He was nice.
He had like 2 sarcastic banters. That's it.
He called Ron and Hermione by their first names.
Yeah, it was strange.
It was odd.
That was one of the other infuriating things because, like I said, when they change characters, that annoys the crap out of me. Especially the characters I love the most. Ron and Snape were some of my favorite characters watching the movies.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of Ron, then it's also revealed that, he was blackout drunk at his wedding.
Yeah, I can't see that because he's so madly in love with Hermione.
Right. He says that he wants to have renew their vows situation because he messed up their first wedding. Like, what? Ron wouldn't do that.
No, he's madly in love with Hermione. Goodness. Yeah. I mean, let's just talk about Voldemort here for a little bit.
Well, wait, but going back to sideline characters for a minute.
Okay.
Just a quick second. Not only does Harry have the 3 children of his, he was also the godfather of, Lupin, Remus Lupin's kid.
Oh my gosh.
And both of his parents are dead, which makes Harry the guardian of, named him Teddy Lupin. He's not even in this book, not even mentioned.
No. So apparently he doesn't exist.
Apparently not. Apparently they just forgot.
They locked him in a cupboard and he just lives there. He is not in this book.
That was kind of upsetting. Another thing that kind of bothered me was so it seemed like they were afraid to do new things with this story. A lot of the set pieces and places and things in this book were sort of retreads of things we've already seen. They went back to physical, literal times that we've already seen.
Right.
Stayed at Hogwarts for the most part, or people's houses, going back to Godric's Hollow. We're going over the same things that we've already done, for 7 books and 8 movies. There isn't really a whole lot of new stuff.
And even when you think it's new, it's not.
Yeah, it's not really.
With Delphi.
Oh, should we do that?
We should do that. So, Delphi, as we said before, is Voldemort's daughter.
Yep.
Which, okay, cool, whatever. We would love to see a new villain, but this is what we get.
Yeah, that's the thing. So the villain is this book is of Voldemort descent, and Voldemort sort of appears, and so
and it's revealed that he had intercourse with Bellatrix Lestrange. Sure, so he doesn't have a nose, but he has a working penis.
Yeah. Can we just talk about how weird that is? This book should I mean one of the last things you wanted this thing to do was to make you think about Voldemort's sexual organs.
Seriously, oh my gosh, man.
He is like the least intimate person in this whole universe.
Yeah, I mean, even when he gave Draco that hug at the end of the Deathly Hallows Part 2, it was the most awkward thing ever. Can you imagine him having intercourse with Bellatrix?
Oh. Like, I can imagine, like, she had a very strong fixation
Oh,
with
yeah,
Voldemort,
definitely.
But, like, he didn't give two craps about her.
No. We see several times where he just doesn't care about her at all.
No, I don't buy that
It doesn't make any sense. And also, why does he need a kid?
Yeah,
Why?
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, he wouldn't want anyone to contest his power.
No.
And, like, the reason, part of the thing with his Horcruxes is he plans on being alive forever. Like, it doesn't really matter if he has, like, a body. Like, he'll just make a new one, kind of thing. He splits his soul into so many different places so that, he can live on past his time. So he doesn't plan on passing his power down,
Right.
All a daughter or a child would be is someone to contest him.
Also, when did Bellatrix have this kid?
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, so I guess between 6 and 7 is the only, or the books 6. Well, I guess in the movies too, 6 and 7, somewhere in there.
Still, I just
But
how?
Don't ask me.
And where the heck did they hide this kid? Like, man,
who raised her?
No one, because they both died.
Well, I think I think maybe they did mention who raised her at one point.
But I don't remember. It was probably stupid. But yeah, so that's Delphi and the villain.
Should we go through like some more plot holes just to rattle them off?
Let's just go through a few plot holes real quick and then wrap it up.
All right. Okay. Jeez, where
Actually, before we get into plot holes, let's just dialogue once again. We're just gonna say it.
Yeah.
Corny.
Yeah.
Very corny.
This thing to me feels like fan fiction that is canon, apparently.
Yes.
Like, it has all the classic tropes of fan fiction, and it's not like there's better fan fiction out there.
Oh, definitely.
Harry Potter.
Definitely.
But I mean, let's go with some plot holes.
Okay.
Here that don't really make sense. So, at one point in the book, so Albus and Scorpius go way back in time, and they're at or near Harry and Harry's parents' house in Godric's Hollow.
Yeah.
Before they die.
Right.
And they don't have wands at this point, and they need so they're trying to send that message through time,
right,
on a blanket, essentially, that Harry still owns in the present, and they know of a ingredient that will burn in that blanket when a love potion hits it, because remember, Ron gives Albus the love potion, and at one point, the love potion gets spilt on the blanket. So their hope is that once the thing gets spilt on there, then it'll reveal a message, that they need help or whatever. And so they need this particular rare ingredient, and they need wands. So, next door to Harry's parents' house is the Bathilda Bagshot character, which in the 7th book and 8th movie, it turns out, she's the character that, is being inhabited by the snake, Nagini. But in her real life, she was, a historian. She knows a whole lot about the history of the wizarding world. And so Albus and Scorpius break into her house, and for some reason she has spare wands lying around. She's a historian, and she has this rare ingredient for whatever.
Yeah.
And then like at this point in the story, Harry's parents know that Voldemort is after them. So
but they want to take a stroll, Sherman.
Yeah, they want to take a stroll outside. And they have like spells, enchantments on their house so that it's not visible. The only reason Voldemort knows where that house is because Peter Pettigrew like rats them out, and tells them where it is. But somehow Albus and Scorpius, they know exactly where it is, despite the fact Albus has never been there. But he knows, apparently. And apparently, despite all the enchantments, they're able to break in to Harry's parents' house and put this rare ingredient on the blanket that's presumably being wrapped around a baby Harry. Don't ask me how they did that.
Oh boy,
that was frustrating.
My biggest one, by far, the entire book. Harry still has bits of Voldemort in him. The entire book, he has like the scar is starting to hurt because Delphi is around or whatever.
Yeah,
and he's having dreams, and he can still speak Parseltongue.
I guess. Despite the fact that the Voldemort part of him is dead.
Yeah, we see it, and you probably read it in the books. It's dead, and it's gone.
Yep.
He shouldn't be able to speak Parseltongue. The scar shouldn't hurt unless it's infected or something. Which, I mean, he's a wizard. Dude. And the dreams? No.
Yeah, he has, like, weird random dreams. Like, he can sort of see the future kind of stuff.
Yeah, like, it's basically just like he had Voldemort in him again.
That didn't make
It was
sense.
super strange. It confused the crap out of me because I was like, I thought he couldn't do this anymore because Voldemort's dead, and I don't know. It confused the crap out of me.
One other one, probably isn't as big, but, like, so we mentioned that that Albus and Scorpius and Delphi, like, they steal the time turner from Hermione's office, which she's, like, the Minister of Magic. They steal it from her office, and, like, they get into bookcases and all that, blah, blah, blah. So, the way they break into her office, they use the Alohomora spell that unlocks doors. So, I guess Hermione's doesn't...
She just don't care.
Number one, she's the Minister of Magic. Number two, it's Hermione. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. The most paranoid person in the whole universe.
And she should have had a better protection on the
bookcase, too.
On the bookcase.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Ugh, that was annoying. What do we have anything else here?
I mean,
well, yeah, we talked about the dialogue. It's Snape. It was I will say, like, this was clearly not written by J.K. Rowling.
No.
Like, she came up with the story, or as far as we know, like, on the front cover of the book, it says, story by J.K. Rowling, written by two dweebs, I guess.
Yeah.
They clearly...
They don't know their material.
Obviously. They should know.
I mean, the story in general was entertaining. Without all of these plot holes and with some good villains thrown in, this would have been pretty amazing, honestly. I had fun reading it.
Yeah.
Until I really started to think about it. So let me just get. Okay, we're gonna score it. What's your score?
Well, I'll say, I did have some fun with this. Like, it's cool to read another Harry Potter story, a new one. But to me, it's by far the worst Harry Potter story that we've had.
Oh, by far.
I don't know. I want to say, like, give it a 6 out of 10, but I feel like that's too high. I don't know, but I guess, yeah.
6 out of 10?
6 out of 10.
All right. So, I read this book in book, whatever. So I said I read it in 4 hours. It's because I had a lot of fun revisiting this world.
True.
And it was just cool to be back in this story and this entire world that J.K. Rowling has given us.
Correct.
But, like I said, once you'd sit down and think about it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No. And it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating that it just changes so much of what we already knew.
Right.
So I'm going to have to give it, disappointingly, I'll go a little bit higher than you. I'll go 6.5 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Because I probably had a lot more fun reading it than you
I
did.
feel like you were going to give it a lot higher of a score before we started talking about this.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's like when I think about the book and the time I had reading it, I'm like, oh, that was pretty fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then you start talking about it and all of the stuff that really urged you. And you were just like, okay, it goes from an 8 to a 7. Okay, 6. Oh, I had fun. 6.5. That's what I'm doing. So 6.5. That is my score. And that's just our opinion of.
Yeah, just our. I would say if you want to read this, the pluses are it's short.
Oh,
so
yeah, super short.
You won't waste a lot of time reading it.
No.
If you are like you just really are starving for another Harry Potter story, like I feel like you'll be happy that you read it. Like
yeah,
or
definitely.
You will prefer to have read it rather than to have not read it. But don't go in expecting it to be
awesome,
as good as everything else.
And I mean, if you go to Target, you get a free poster. So
I did not go to Target, so I did not get a free poster.
I got a free poster, so that's probably why I moved it up to a 0.5.
Right, a poster gave you another 0.5.
So, yeah, that's just our opinion of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I've been Matt Corchado. You can follow me at Matt Corchado on Twitter.
Yeah, you can follow me at first name Caleb on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter at Geek Opinions Pod. You can like us on Facebook, Geeks with Opinions. You can hopefully maybe subscribe to us on the YouTubes.
Maybe.
Geeks with Opinions. Give us video a like, subscribe, and share it around places.
Comment.
We're also on SoundCloud sometimes.
Sometimes.
Geeks with Opinions. When they give us enough space to upload stuff. We're not on iTunes yet.
We are working on it.
Sort of.
Kind of.
Maybe.
We'll think about it.
We'll think about it.
So, yeah, leave us a comment. Tell us what you thought about the book, the script thing. So, and if you've seen the play or are going to see the play.
Yeah, I'll be curious.
Yeah, I want to know if the play really changes the way you think about the story.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know that as well.
Thanks for listening, and have a just splendid day.
Yeah. I mean, you know. Yeah. Have a good day.
Don't fight cats.
Don't fight. Wait. Oh, okay. Yeah, don't do that. That's bad.